World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
This is Kia Rogers, and you're listening to Urbanology with my dad, Tony Rogers, on WHCR 90.3 FM New York.
Hey, what's happening? Urbanology.
Good afternoon. This is your host, Tony Rogers. I hope that all is well with you. I guess we're enjoying an Indian summer, which, well, I think anytime you could get up in the morning without too much of a problem, it's a good time. So the weather is something that we can't control, but we can only enjoy. So I hope that you are having an ability to enjoy fall as it begins to turn into winter. We have a very interesting show today. This is the second Tuesday of the month, and it gives me an opportunity to share the Urbanology experience with Charlene De La Cruz, director of the CU Grow program at Columbia University, a program that has been a spearhead in allowing for businesses in the upper Manhattan area, or actually businesses, period. I believe the geographic location is not only in upper Manhattan, but parts of the Bronx. But is that correct, Charlene?
That is absolutely correct. Thank
right.
you for having me here. Always the second Tuesday of the month. It's such a pleasure and joy to join you this month.
Well, it's an important situation that we face now, even more so than when we first started doing this. There are a lot of businesses that need support, and then there is a lot of support that sometimes is not communicated to the point where people can understand that it's there. The only thing worse than not having support is having support and not knowing that it's there. And that's one of the things that you do very well, Charlene. And I know that you have a guest that I'm looking forward to re-meeting again. I've met her behind stage, but I'd like to learn a little bit more about her. So please introduce your guest for today.
Yes, I have the esteemed honor to introduce you to Alexis Messine from the Bottom Line Construction and Development Corp. She is such an amazing woman, and I can't wait to kind of like dive into her story and kind of like let your Harlem listener learn a little bit more about Alexis. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's
Welcome, Alexis.
it's really a pleasure to be here with you, and I'm looking forward to participating.
Well, again, Charlene was telling me some interesting facts about your development, and one of the things that was extremely interesting, and I think I have it right, you went from a nursing career into a construction career, which was
Yeah.
a tremendous leap. Usually, the nurses help construction people because they're injured. but it's not often that you hear nurses jumping from that position into construction. And I understand that you're bringing some of the caring and nurturing that nurses must have into what you're doing. And we're talking about some of the programs that you're dealing with. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony. So everyone always asks that question, right? Like, how do you go from healthcare to construction and development? And I'm still a nurse. I don't think I'll ever give up my license.
It's always good to have some backup, right?
Yes. Old school.
Right.
One of the interesting things that for me is that, my background before nursing, I was an EMT with the fire department for about 11 years, and I also dispatched. Yeah. And so because of there was a program with the New York City it was a forgivable loan program through Health and Hospitals. And I was able to get my nursing degree, which was huge because I was actually on my own, and I probably would not have had a way to complete that. So I'm like eternally grateful for that program. And so the first point I want to make to your question was, how does it all correlate, right? So, nurses, especially from a critical care perspective, my background is cardiothoracic. A lot of what we do, Tony, is try to bring the focus to the patient, to the priority, right? And that priority is a common goal for everyone in the room, whether it's specialists, whether it's social services, whether it's the family. You sort of have to get everybody all on the same page. And it's really similar in a project or a development project or a construction project. You have a lot of players, a lot of specialists, architects, structural people, engineering people, and you kind of have to get everybody, financing, and you have to get everybody on the same page. And so we're really good at that. I think I'm good at that. So that's kind of how that, for me, that makes the correlation. And as far as, you never leave nursing. Like, I think, I've taken care of family members, friends, but as far as why I'm in business today with Bottom Line is truly to make an impact. What's today? The 12th. So on Sunday was our 11th year anniversary for Bottom Line.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So I know, I'm like 11 years, am I still here?
Well, time goes by fast when you're having fun.
It does.
Can you tell listeners a little bit about Bottom Line, what your services are, and what, people might be able to do in order to contact you?
Of course. So we started out like most contractors as a home improvement contractor, Tony, and we did smaller projects. And believe it or not, those projects were born out of me doing development. So it actually happened backwards. So I was first doing small projects, South Jamaica, Queens, Brooklyn, doing multifamilies with HPD. They had various programs to sort of invest into our communities. And so those are some of my first projects from a development perspective, believe it or not.
How did you get there though? I mean, from nursing, how did you get there? That's the intriguing.
So my first,
How did you make that jump?
sure, my first project was my home, which was a multifamily in Queens on
Okay.
Southgate Street in South Jamaica, and
Okay.
it was a wreck. And so I must have been about 23, and
Mhm.
I was a first time home buyer. It was a Sony Mae mortgage. They still have them out there, and it was so bad, Tony. I had to wait a year before I could even move in. So
Wow.
yes, so renovated the entire house. I don't know if you know, but I was housing challenged as a youth. So some of the first two families I took in were from a homeless program that Dinkins initiated. That was all about, helping distressed families who had experienced any kind of fire or any sort of situation like that get into a stable home environment.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I didn't have enough funds to fix up my apartment, but I made sure they were good, and then I
Mhm.
moved in, and it was such an experience, and they stayed with me for about 13, 14 years, Tony. So
Wow.
yes, so it was such and I was like, don't you want to buy your own house? It's like, but it was such a good experience. It had its challenges, but I realized that that's really a space that I wanted to, look into more on a formal perspective. So I did all that while I was at the hospital working. So I just started renovating properties in the community slowly. I mean, these are one family, two family. Then it went to developing properties. And then, believe it or not, people reached out to me after I finished my first commercial development on Merrick in Queens in Springfield Gardens, and said, "Can you help us on the construction side, though?"
Hmm.
And I was like,
Now, did you have training
"Oh,
for this, or this was self-taught, or
no, but
how
I
did you
told you
fit?
nurses are good." How many nurses they have other
So,
things going
so you had a sick house and you just took care of
on.
it, right?
But so my first, it's so funny you keep saying that my first lender for my first commercial project, which is right on Merrick Boulevard and in Springfield Gardens,
I know where
was
that
a
is.
was a dentist,
Wow.
because I couldn't get capital. We can't get capital. Not only could I get capital, they were like, "We're not giving you any money. You're a nurse." So I had to work nights and then take care of the development in the daytime. But that company, he was a dentist, and he was there every Monday to see the progress. And it was interesting. It was an interesting experience. It worked out really well. It took me about 12 or 13 months to complete that project. And it was ground up, horizontal, vertical expansion. I fully leased it up at the end. So it turned out to be a really good experience, but it was challenging, of course.
Of course, I'm sure.
Mhm.
And again, did you have any previous mentors or training or some guide in order to do what you're doing? Because people go to school, people
Yeah,
study, and they do internships and apprenticeships to
right.
do what you said that you were doing, and you were a nurse. So,
So,
so
so my grandmother is my training. My
okay.
grandmother. My grandmother raised me for the first 7 years, and she had a boarding house in
Mm,
South Jamaica. So I know it sounds silly, but she handled tenants. And so,
mhm.
however small they may have been in the big scheme of things, they knew to knock on Miss McSween's door when they needed a place to stay, which was commonplace in the 70s. So and every week you had to have Miss McSween's rent, and she took care of all your, any issues you had for your room and board. But
Mhm.
I would say that the desire to really try to excel in this space of construction and development definitely comes from the opportunity to make an impact.
Mm.
So I think I definitely make an impact. I think I know I made an impact as an EMT and as a nurse. But when you can teach people in the community and hire people and give access to opportunities that we don't normally know about, that actually involve people in their own communities working on projects that typically we wouldn't have access to. I just felt like that was I hope I'm not making a mistake, but it was a larger calling. So I feel like in that space, we contractors like us, developers like us, can actually we give those opportunities. We don't. It's not a compliance issue for us. It's not a 30% goal or 51%. It's that's what we're here to do, and that's what we do. So I feel like that just makes such a huge impact. And so I sort of chose a different path and decided to seek out formal training, because I knew, you're going to sit there with people asking people for money and investors. You need to get a little bit more warm and fuzzy with what's needed to survive in the development world.
Well, that's very fascinating, Alexis, because I feel like I've known you for a few years, but that backstory I never knew. So it's almost like your sense of community is what created Bottom Line Construction. So I feel like that's just so fascinating. I feel like it makes your business even more kind of like rewarding of the work that you're doing.
Definitely.
Now, Charlene indicated that you were starting a program to help young people begin to understand some of the skills that might allow for them to become entrepreneurs or have positions in construction. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Definitely. So, and I hope we don't get off before I tell you how much of an impact See You Grow in Columbia has had on our business.
Well, Charlene would not let me get out of here.
I just want to, I don't want to use up the time.
That was coming up next.
Because that's important.
We want to support you, so please let us know.
So I'm going to quickly tell you that just pre-pandemic, so as an MWB firm, it's just as a construction firm in general, and any company that navigates the ACED space, so that's architectural, construction, engineering, and development, right? It's always challenging to hire people with the skill sets that you need, even if they're graduating college. It's our world is a little different. So there's a lot of training that goes into place. And I just sort of felt like during the pandemic, right pre-pandemic, we experienced a massive sort of hiring freeze for young people in our own communities that had to deal with COVID-related issues. A lot of young people were intending to go to internships, paid internships, that they were no longer able to participate in. It was just a huge blow to our communities. And I felt like, we have a need. We're not the only ones. There's a lot of contractors, even larger firms that have a need. And young people, when I talked to them, they really didn't know about a lot of the opportunities in construction and development. And all of the wonderful, Tony, absolutely wonderful transferable skills that go into the skill sets. So we decided to create Youth Construct. And Youth Construct, it speaks to 11th and 12th graders, and its sole purpose is back office construction administration, fields in such project management, office engineer, project associate, expediting, surveyor, things that you don't normally think about. You think construction and you're just, brick and mortar, hammer and nails. But there are developments going up in these kids' communities that they just look at the brick and mortar and they don't understand or know the opportunities and how it got there. Who decided to approve that project? What's going in there? What commercial, businesses are going in, and how did they pick that? And how do they serve our community? And so when we went through the pandemic, there was so much going on. And young people not really understanding. They just know, that's a big box store, or that's but imagine somebody designed that and someone tested the land to make sure that you can build on it. And someone knew how to make those drawings, and someone handled all the quality control and quality assurance to get that building up and get to certificate of occupancy. So the issue, we got to let the young people know that these professions exist.
Young and old people, but young people in particular.
Because they're pretty lucrative, right? And there's programs out there, Tony, that speak to young people, but they're just not in our communities. They're not in the underserved communities. So that was our goal. So we actually reached out to CU Grow in Columbia and just ran it by them when it was just a baby, just to get the support, because that's what they're so good at, you know, on the right way to go about it, from curriculum to, you know, the biggest impact. And now we're finished. And now our program starts in January. And we're really excited. We're recruiting right now. I put the link in there for you. We're also educating folks, because we have to educate the parents, you know, because everybody just thinks, oh, construction. But now we're bridging that gap. And Tony, with the technology shift since the pandemic, construction has shifted as well. So now these young people are relying on all the technology, all the software that speaks to construction scheduling, construction bidding, development process. So that's what we've been focusing on.
And especially with, hopefully, before December ends, we will have a bill, a federal bill, that infrastructure bill that will enhance the ability for the things that you're talking about. Charlene, you know, tell us a little bit about your relationship with Alexis and her programs.
Alexis, I actually met Alexis when she was a participant of the Columbia Business Community Program, which is an amazing program that is actually housed through the Columbia Business School. And I think the day that we met, I was doing a presentation kind of like of doing business with Columbia. And I think from there, kind of like our relationship has flourished. You know, she's always, I think within Tanya being who she is, she's always supporting other firms. You know, if there's an idea, she's going to help you kind of refine that idea and make it a bit stronger, so that the ask
sounds like you and Tanya. So you must have gotten along well, because you're always refining my ideas, and Tanya, you know, sixth you on me. So she is the refiner of all refiners.
She is the refiner of all refiners, and that is such an asset to tap into. And I think this has been kind of like a learning experience for the both of us, kind of like understanding what was the goal. And I know that you've shifted also, Alexis, like the goal of the program shifted a few times, having those conversations, because Tanya kind of gave us kind of like those tip points, focus on this. If you do this route, it's not going to work out. But, you know, we've continued to work along. She's an approved vendor of the university, so she's able to do work with the university.
Wow.
That's
okay.
You know, a great accomplishment that we were able to.
Well, you had to come out of the. If you get out of the CU Grow program, if you can get past Charlene and Tanya, you deserve to be a part of the Columbia.
Well, they demand excellence, and
they are rough ladies.
But it's all for the benefit. It really
That's
is.
true. You know,
community. And I'm curious to know, like, how many groups that you're going to be working with. I know that you're in the recruiting process for youth construction. So, like, how many youth are you?
Where are you located? Where will you be based?
So we're based out of Harlem. Which is Central Harlem, right on 148th Street. We had to make some hard decisions whether it was going to be virtual or in person. We're shooting for in person. So I hope there's nothing that's going to prevent us from being in person, because I just think it has a much larger impact in person, especially when we deal with young people.
Yes.
They also have, Tony, there'll be site visits on various projects with our partners. And we're encouraging our partners to take on interns, and it's a paid program. They'll get a stipend, plus they'll be paid for their internship over the summer. So we're really excited, and we're excited.
Sounds like something that I might want to be involved in.
And the young people go ahead. Sorry, Tom.
I was just saying, we have a couple of more minutes. There are a couple of things. One, I know that Charlene will keep us in contact. It sounds like a good story for the Harlem Community News. I write articles for Harlem Community News dealing with good news that people can use. So once your program starts, we'll be in contact to see how we can allow for more people to understand what you're doing, or if there's a recruiting situation. But we also would like to know, is there a phone number or any other way? I know we have your website up. How is this the best way for people to reach out to you? And if they can't do that, is there another option that they might have?
So I put our link tree up there, and it'll give you basically not only our website, but it also gives you all of our social handles. And on our website is the telephone number as well. So you would be able to get everything that's affiliated with us through that link tree. So the link tree you have up right now is Bottom Line's link tree. And then I also gave you one more link tree. Yep. And that's the youth. And we're recruiting now. So, and we're even entertaining a few students from the South Bronx. And so we're excited about that. So we're entertaining partners, organizations that are willing to take on interns in the summer, donations. We're entertaining educators as well. So that website and that link tree should really give you access to everything. And if you're missing anything, I'm sure Charlene would give that to you as well, Tony.
Okay, and one of the things which is interesting segue from nursing to construction, from construction to art, which has a great deal to do with that.
It does.
In a couple of minutes, I'm going to bring on Jerome Downey, who is a curator of a very prestigious art gallery in Harlem. And there are connections there. I mean, obviously, if you're doing construction, artists have a tremendous role, especially these days, as relates to construction, and architecture is kind of interesting. My daughter is an artist, and she was talking about how some of the classes that she was attending, she goes to Skidmore, kind of lean towards the understanding that if you're good at art, you might want to focus on architecture, because there's you have to, as you say, someone has to come up with the imagination of a building before you put it on paper. It has to be in your mind, and if you have an artistic ability, that enhances your ability to visualize and see. Everybody can't do everything. People are blessed, but your nurturing, Alexis, I believe, comes from your home upbringing. But it's a wonderful thing to see you pivot, to see you grow. No pun intended.
I like that.
But thanks so much for taking time, and please stay with us if you're interested in art and international art, especially focusing on African art. There may be some connections with our next guest, so I hope that you stay connected. And Tanya, I'm so used to talking to Tanya. Charlene, we're going to have a reunion, hopefully, at our last show with Tanya, Laverna Fountain, and all the people who I've worked with from Columbia University. Charlene is really a gem. She's quiet, but don't let that smile fool you. You got to be on your game to deal with this young lady.
Yeah, I do. I just want to, before we leave to the next guest, I just want to let Charlene know and let everybody know that, the See You Grow program and CCBP program that are in our community, they have made a tremendous impact by not only addressing issues of the owners and businesses in the community, but we go back to the community and we share our knowledge with other businesses. And like during the pandemic, I know everybody's tired of hearing about the pandemic, but if it wasn't for them, a lot of us would be out of business right now, Tony. So I'm just encouraging everyone to go online, go to Columbia's CU Grow and CCBP programs and just check them out, sign up, because I know for sure we would have been really challenged or not even here without them. That's it.
Thank you, Alexis,
And
for saying that.
one
I
of the
really
great
appreciate
things
it.
about it is that if you qualify, the price is right.
Yes, yes, you do get a scholarship, so you qualify. But the selection process, I am here to tell you, it's a tough one.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
I
they
I
don't
know
know.
it was very tough last year.
very
It was
tough,
a hard
very tough.
choice.
So
And
I've dealt with these ladies
yeah,
for a number of years, so
yeah,
they will keep you on point. But if you
yeah.
can get past, it's a
But they're
wonderful
creating
experience.
greatness.
That's true. Look
So,
at you.
yeah, all right.
because you
You're
completed the
finding
Columbia
stuff.
Business Community Program, so that's
Yeah,
it's a program that's almost aligned, but it's still also a very esteemed program. But just to
definitely.
kind of like add on to Alexis, the things that we do, we really do it to support minority-owned businesses, and we want to support them with the information that we garner. We don't want to just harvest the information to ourselves, especially during the pandemic. It was such a scary time for a lot
Yeah,
of businesses. A lot of businesses, they felt like all of my years of work have stopped,
yeah,
and
Hmm.
it's just really giving them hope. And I think that that was one thing that was the silver lining for me. I'm able to give them a little bit of hope through the resources that I'm finding. Any relationship that I was able to garnish, throughout this pandemic, that it's kind of still here, it was able to shed some light and some kind of like a little bit of a little breathing room for them during the pandemic. So
definitely.
it's something that I
Well,
really
like
enjoy, and I hope that I continue to do so.
you have to enjoy it as hard as you work. Sometimes I'm guilty. I was talking to you today, and I knew that you had 50 billion things, but you you gave me the time, and I appreciate you so much,
Thank
Shirley, because I know that you work very, very hard. And Alexis, it's a pleasure. We will talk again. I would like to do a story because I think your story is very unique. And please stay with us. Charlene, we also, before we end, make sure that you um, let people know how they might be able to reach you with See You Grow. But you're going to stay with us for our
I'll
next
be here.
guest. And you have, please stay with us if you can.
Okay.
And thank you for the things that you do and for being who you are. And allowing for people to understand that just because you are doing one thing doesn't mean that you can't follow your dream if it's something that's completely different from what people might think it would be. So I can see you going into a bank as a nurse asking for a construction grant or loan. So the tenacity is there. Our next guest, Jerome Downey, is a wonderful young man. He is the curator for La Espèce de Reve. And I'm sure that I'm going to get that. You know, I do know it's like the space of dreams or place of dreams. It's in a location that many people are familiar with Harlem, home to Harlem on Malcolm X Boulevard between 122nd and 123rd Street. But this young man, every day I learned a little bit more about him. A very interesting person, and may very well lead the art. We're going to Senegal in March. You guys might not know about that through the Harlem Tourism Board, and hopefully Jerome will be the person that represents the art and exchange programs that we're looking to put together. But Jerome, there are a number of things happening. Please give us a little bit of information. First of all, about yourself, but that's two shows, so we have to be brief, and then a little bit about the correct pronunciation.
You mean L'espace de Reve?
Slave. Yeah, but I just can't get my tongue to roll like it's supposed to. But I'm going to get it. You know.
So a little bit about myself. I've been in business since I was in my mid-20s. 43 now. one of my first business ventures was a gym. I used to own a few gyms upstate New York. And then I moved on from that and got into the arts. Arts has always been in my blood. I used to draw a lot when I was younger. Comic book characters, Spawn, and all of those guys. Now my son and my daughter are doing similar in their own unique form of art as well. We now are in 2018. I started showing art in restaurants. So I was curating for restaurants with my art. So I would bring my art around to restaurants, ask if I can show and sell. They would give me approval. And in the likes of it, it was also staging the restaurant. So it was a good look for them and me as well. This is one of my pieces right here, actually.
That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
I like your T-shirt too. You never showed me that before, so.
So yeah, moving on from that, I had the opportunity to meet with Maria, who is the owner of the Brownstone and of Home to Harlem. And her and I worked out a business deal where I would take over in the space that I'm in now at 246 Lenox Avenue, Malcolm X Boulevard, between 122nd and 123rd, and show my art. And then ultimately, I got more artists, and now we're working with artists from across the street in Harlem to artists from Brooklyn to artists from Brazil, Africa, and it's just the beginning. So here we are.
So tell us a little bit. You have some interesting programs with the show in and of itself, but also I know that you work very closely with Richard Cox, who is the vice president, among other things, the vice president of the Harlem Tourism Board, dealing with young people, allowing for them to understand the economic development opportunities in art.
Yes, very nice, buddy. Good job. Sorry, that was my son. I need to check the homework. So, working alongside with Rich has been very creative, and we do stuff with the Rucker basketball team or something like that. The kids, they come through. We talk about the curation of art, how to curate art, how to look at art, how to stage art, that type thing, how to communicate with your artist, stuff like that. That's what we're doing with the kids, me and Rich and I. And what else? Rich is, now he's got me working with the Harlem Tourism Board. He's trying to pass the buck off to me, and I'm like, hold on, Rich.
We know about that, right, Shirley?
I mean, a lot of good things are happening, though, and I believe that things are happening.
It's called Each One, Teach One, which is part of the Rucker tradition. Once you understand certain things, you bring in young people who know probably more than you do and give them, let them do that so that you can continue whatever you've started. That's the most important thing.
Right, exactly. And that's one of my slogans. So when he brought this to my attention, I was on board 100%. Absolutely.
And as an esteemed compliment too.
Tell us about the show that you have now currently.
So the current show, sorry, if you hear background noise, I got a puppy. This dude is nonstop. Full family here. This thing is crazy. So
well, again, it's live TV. This is the culture now.
The show we have now, we are representing 12 artists currently in the space now. We have artists such as Eddie Mola, Anani, Miss Grace. Stop, please. Go. Miss Grace.
Grace Williams.
Yes, correct. She's a local Harlem woman, well known in the community. Who else do we have? We still have a lot of my African artists. Felix, one of my artists from Africa, Togo, sent me 2 beautiful wooden table pieces that he stained. It's like a tree trunk. The thing is like this thick and it's this big, and it's a table. And inside it, he made these nudges and put brass, because when you go to Togo, a lot of the artifacts are made of brass. And I'm sure there's a name for all this stuff, but I don't know it. Plus, I'm not good with names. Just forgive me. So in any event, he made these engravings. You just got to come by and see it. It's kind of hard to describe, but to see it, you'll love it. You'll enjoy it. And that's one of the things we're starting to venture into. Aside from the wall art, we're also bringing in the creativity of maybe one-of-a-kind pieces of furniture. But we're moving into some precious metals and stones that we're working with from a brother that lives in Brazil that I just partnered up with. We also going to be doing something big, a little top secret information right now. I'm just going to put it out there with watches. So we got a brother out there, that is making automatic watch timepieces. He likes me to use terminology, timepieces. And I'll be representing his brand here. We just partnered up, him and I'll be representing his brand at the gallery also. I'm going to take the front area of my gallery and make it a full retail shop for high-end products like that. So it's going to be dope.
You know, I love watches. I collect watches, and that sounds good to me.
Oh, you're gonna love it. So we'll be showing oh, go ahead. Sorry, Tony.
No, go ahead. Finish.
So what I'm going to do, I know Tony stopped by the gallery this past weekend. So you've seen that big black apparatus, which is like a showcase. That's only part of it. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a feed video of him making the timepieces. He was also big in Maryland, where he started a program for after-school program for the youth in the community, African American youth in the community, that didn't have much to do because they cut a lot of the funding out for certain programs in certain communities. And he started a program where he was educating children on how to make these timepieces and why it's so unique and all the intricate details that go into it. So we'll be playing a video.
Banner.
Yeah. We'll be playing a video showing all this and all the details and all the manifestation that comes behind these pieces. So it's going to be great. I just can't wait. The beginning of the year is going to be awesome for the Spots Daily. Aside from that, we have artists. We're going to be looking for more artists soon. So if you know anybody that's great at art, have them come through and let me see their work, or they can contact me and I'll see what we can do together.
And how would people, with the information that we have here, is there any other way to reach you, or is that the best option? So
through the website, there is a contact page. There is the phone number that you can reach me directly and straight to my cell phone. There is a email address, which is just hello@lespacetoday.com. So yeah, all through the social media, we have every single social media. We have LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, you name it, we have it, Pinterest. So
how did you come up with the name?
So when I stopped the gym business, I sold the gym business and I was going to get into something like home goods. And it was my passion for a long time because I had the opportunity of working with people in expos and stuff like that. When I had my gym business, I was invited to these functions through my clientele. And so for a long time, it was like a dream. For me, it was just like a passion, a drive. I was like completely done with the gym business. I was burnt out. So when I had the opportunity to get a feel for this industry, I was like, man, I really want to do that. And I was struggling with this. I wrote the business plan back in 2013. I didn't execute till 2017, 18, but it was a dream for a long time. And the original name was Bois de Glace, which is wooden glass. So, but I came out with it was because I knew if it was a dream and I wanted to make it a reality, I came out with the name of Spots Today, which is the place of dreams. Because with that being said, for my personal passion, when people come into my gallery, you're looking at $10,000, $20,000 paintings and things of that nature. It's a dream. People really want these things. They'll find a way to make it happen.
Very, very interesting. Charlene, any thoughts?
I'm fascinated with the guests that you always bring on, Tony, but I'm kind of curious. I know that you mentioned that you're working with the youth, kind of like similar to Alexis. What type of programming do you offer to the youth of Harlem? Is it something that they can connect through your website, or is it like a specific age group that you work with?
There's no age group. And the best way for us to bring that in is through Team Unity with Richard.
Okay.
But you can contact me and I can bring us all in a circle as far as the conversation is concerned with that. There's no age limit. No, they can be young, they can be older. The thing about it is we're not just teaching them how to, be artists, right, but we're also teaching them how to curate art, how to relate with artists, how to feel comfortable with making mistakes when drawing or painting or something like that, because that's part of the creativity of an artist. The mistakes you make, the blemishes you make, you can just move right into something else in your artistry. And that's just a reflection of life. That's symbolic to life. When things happen for a reason. You learn from your experiences, you keep it moving, and so on and so forth. That's what we try to educate the youth with, similar intention.
That's powerful.
So, can I?
Absolutely.
Yes, please.
Jerome, Richard Pelzer.
Sorry?
Richard Pelzer?
No,
Richard Cox.
Richard Cox. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to tell you, you're like 100% on point. One of our graduates, so we have the sort of test run with our interns on our Youth Construct program. And the young brother, Elijah Class, who completed the program, he wants to be an artist. And he wants to be a part of the fashion industry. So we actually reached out he did a presentation in the end, Columbia style, did a PowerPoint presentation once he completed the program. And we introduced him to a brother that's in Harlem that is in that whole art world, fashion world. So I think what you're doing is awesome. And I think we can still partner on stuff.
That sounds great. That'll be amazing. Absolutely.
And Charlene, one of the things that you might do, which is part of what Urbanology is about, is connecting people, is to contact Matt McCoy. One of the components of Soul City is fashion. And there is a number of people who might be very helpful in giving direction to those who would like to get into the fashion industry. So that, that's as we, one of the good things about this show and the different people who are on the show is that we are able to find common denominators, because whenever you're talking to people, there's always something that we have in common. And once we, as my good friend Lloyd Williams, who's the brother of Grace Williams, who's the artist. Lloyd Williams is, I guess, the godfather of Harlem. He often talks about his relationship with Percy Sutton, who was the true godfather of Harlem, talking about common and communication. And, if you, communicate, you'll find that you have things in common, and you can do certain things that, you probably would not talk about unless you have a conversation, which is really important.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. I think it was an amazing show, and it was just wonderful how we kind of we always find our own guests, but it's almost interconnected in some shape, or form.
Well, because, there's this old saying that my grandmother used to say, birds of a feather flock together. So when you have a certain type of energy, you tend to attract people with that type of energy. And that's why there has not been a person that you've selected for this show, or Tanya or Laverna, that did not have a certain type of a frequency, because if you're dealing with them, it allows for a certain energy to be put into play that is a common energy. And the things that we do, the things that we feel that maybe just in our focus is usually something that has overlaps. And you, Alexis, is a tremendous example of that. Just because you're healthcare, that overlap, and into nursing, or Jerome, you handled with dealing with gym, physical fitness, and now you're into, the beauty of art. So these are things that allow for us to understand, no matter where we are, there are certain things that we have in common with other people. And that's only identified through conversation. And sometimes we tend to be secular and not have conversation with people who may not necessarily seem to be in the area of focus that we are. And when we take time to drop our, egos or look at something from a holistic point of view, we'll realize that we have more in common with many people than we don't. And that's something that we, especially now, have to be more in tune with. Charlene, tell us a little bit more about where we should go. This is, I always have to go to Charlene because she
just last. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sure.
No, I'm sorry. You were gonna say something.
I was just gonna let you guys know. I mean, every second Saturday of the month, we do a new art exhibit, a new show. So please stop by from 1 to 8. It's always loud. It's always fun. We have beverages. We have entertainment. Sometimes we have a jazz band or a DJ. It's a lot of art to see. So make sure you can spend a little time there because we have 2 levels of art. We have about 6,600 square feet of art gallery space.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm open daily, Wednesday through Sunday, so you can stop by anytime if you guys just want to come by and say hello. And if you want to get interested in art, we have nice pieces. I'm sure you can find something you'll love.
Thank you.
And besides that, just as a plug for Maria and for Jerome, the place is also an activity location where people have weddings, people have all kinds of birthday parties and different types of activities. So it's a multi-use facility, baby showers and the like. And the environment is obviously one that's encouraging because you're surrounded with these beautiful pieces. So it's great. And that second Saturday is also a good time for those who are interested in art, young people, to come through because they are able to. There are sessions where they do work with young people in order to allow for them to understand. If you don't want to be an artist, you might be a curator, or you might have a business development opportunity, or there may be, just as you were saying, with construction. There are many layers when you start peeling the onion. It's not just the onion in itself. There are many layers, and sometimes there has to be direction in order to understand how to fit into the niche that complements what your mindset is. So these things are extremely important. So we have a couple of more minutes. Tanya, anything that you would like to say as we start to part? And we'll go to both Alexis and Jerome
I
also.
will, Charlene, but I want to make just one final announcement. The Black Business Owner Forum, they're actually having a webinar series on October 14th. I did share the link. I think if Matt could include it like in the chat so that people can register. They're still taking registrations. So it's going to be an all-day conference. It's a really great webinar, a lot of powerhouses sponsored by really great government agencies, and it's really focusing on getting contract opportunities for Black business owners. And it's actually housed by Danielle Douglas. She was here prior last year, kind of like around the same time. She is very busy, so I just want to just give a little shout out to her event because it's an amazing event. She does a lot of work into it. She, gathers so many great speakers just to give support to Black business owners. So if you guys have a chance, please register and attend or share with any other Black business owner that you think might, be able to garnish any information from this webinar. Please do. And then you can always reach
and give the date again.
It's October 14th. So it's going to happen this Thursday. Is all day of October 13th this Thursday. The link, it's
the 13th or the 14th?
14th, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, the 14th this Thursday.
Okay. And we can reach out to you.
To me, through the CU Grow website, which is cugrow.columbia.edu, or you can always email me at cu-grow@columbia.edu. So if there's any resource that you want to know a little bit more about, please contact me. If I don't know, I will connect you to someone that does know.
We'll call Tanya, right? Tanya knows everything.
She knows a lot of people. I need to kind of like tap into her brain completely, but not yet. Not yet. But yeah, I think that today was such a great show. I want to thank Alexis for joining us, allowing us to learn a little bit more about you, your business, the great initiatives that you're doing. And, you know, if any way that we can help you to kind of like put the word out, I'm more than happy to do so. And also, Mr. Downey, it was a wonderful pleasure meeting you as well. I think it's just an amazing, me speaking for being a mother, my daughter is really into art. And, you know, just kind of like tapping into little things that will kind of like explore that, you know, that mistake era, because that's what stops her. If she could learn that, I think she'll just be unstoppable.
Second Saturday of the month, bring her by to the gallery. Alexis, any parting words you might want to give or share?
So again, thank you so much for having us here. This is a wonderful platform, and I'm so glad Charlene invited me. And I just want us to, you know, we've emerged from, well, almost emerged from such a, you know, tumultuous time over the past year. And I just really want us to try to work better together, more strategic, take advantage of opportunities like See You Grow at Columbia, and just impart that knowledge, share with anyone you can, be the town crier for local businesses who may not have had the opportunity to participate. And just keep on the lookout for us. And we're going to continue to try to stay relevant. Thank you.
Surely. Jerome?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Rogers.
Comments?
Charlene, Mr. Rogers, Alexis, thank you so much. Thank you for the questions. Keeps me on my toes. I also want to add. That in the next, I want to say 2 or 3 months, early next year, we're going to be doing something called the Crack Series, and what we're doing is one of my artists and I are collaborating, and we're going to do a whole artist gallery takeover. I'm gonna stage it as if it was a drug house, and my artist has photography of when he was addicted to crack cocaine.
Wow.
And he was taking photos of his experiences and things of that nature.
Wow. Yes.
And this is one we're going to stage the gallery to be like a drug house. I mean, you know, from top to bottom, I don't want to go into details. I want it to be a surprise. I'm just giving everybody a little heads up. Be mindful, you know, stay abreast and stay in contact with us. Join our social media, because this is going to be a big thing. We're getting the city involved. We're getting local politicians involved. I've already got the okie dokie from the lady I rent from, Mrs. Maria, from Home to Harlem. So go ahead and do it. I was a little concerned about making a place look like a crack house.
She
was pretty excited when I brought it to her attention. She was like, "That is a great idea, Jerome." So, yeah. So, yeah, guys, I'm telling you, stay in contact with us. This is gonna.
That should be interesting.
Yeah.
So again, thank you all for being involved. Go ahead. You wanted to say something?
No, I'm in awe, because it's, you know, good to meet such nice people and, you know, have great conversation, whether it's on a computer screen or not. I mean, it just the love is there.
Hopefully, at some point, we'll be able to see each other. Matter of fact, on October the 20th, we're having the Harlem Tourism Board is having a mixer at Lundell's restaurant. So you all should come through if you can. You can go to this is you. And he didn't want to say, "Why are you putting me on camera?" You know, I don't want to.
He scared himself. Did you see that? He scared himself.
He said, "Why? You know?" He said, "I'm going to bite you tomorrow." but again, if you want information, we're on. You can always reach out to us. This will be aired on the Harlem Tourism Board Facebook page as well as the Soul City page, Facebook page. And we will keep it up for a while so people can see it. And if you want to refer some people to it for whatever information that you give, they will be able to take advantage of it. And I'd like to again thank Matt McCoy, Soul City TV, one of the, I guess the only, I can say safely, Black-owned television network that's in all of the various on-demand channels. So that's a major accomplishment, and I'm very proud of him and giving us this platform. And also a shout out to WHCR 90.3 FM. Based on the pandemic, we started to do some other things. So that is the home base at the City College of New York, and now we're grown and we're doing many other things. So thank you all for your time. Charlene, I can't say how much I wish we could do 5 or 6 shows together, but this one show is always a good one.
I wouldn't be able to stand afterwards.
You have enough of me on one, right?
No, I love working with you. It's been an amazing experience. It's crazy to say that we're almost at 3 years of doing this, and I
it's
can't believe
hard to believe 3 years. 3 years it's been?
Yeah.
My goodness. So at any rate, one of the things, hopefully we're able to pull off that reunion in December with Tanya and Laverna. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. That would be a great show. Thank you so much, Charlene, for what you do. And of course, Matt McCoy, Soul City TV, for giving us this platform. And we, God willing, will be back next week with another interesting show. You take care, and we'll see you soon.
This is Kia Rogers, and you're listening to Urbanology with my dad, Tony Rogers, on WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Urbanology.